So I'm in a Mercedes-Benz E-Class, which is indicative of the fact that I've made it in life. But some E-Classes are more indicative of that than others, and this is one of them. This is not an E250 to poke around town in. This is a full-fat E63 AMG, and that means that you certainly have made it. 1.3 crores buys you this mammoth Merc with gaping intakes in front, quad exhaust in the rear, and a hand-built 5.5-litre bi-turbo V8 belting out 557 horses in the engine bay. And what all that power translates to is a 0 to 100 time of 4.2 seconds. I mean, not so long ago, that was proper supercar territory. And what that means is that when you're out on a racetrack, like I am right now, on the Behl International Circuit, and you've got a car that puts down this kind of power and channels it through the rear wheels, you can have a lot of fun indeed. Kind of like that. And it's got a really pliable chassis. It's really predictable. It's light on its feet. It just doesn't feel like any E-Class that I've ever driven in my entire life. It's got the AMG 7-speed transmission, which is actually pretty good in this car. In the SLS, it seemed like it just wasn't able to keep up with the urgency of the power delivery. It was a little too slow, maybe a little clumsy, but in this, you've got no such issues. It's still not as fast as some of the best gearboxes out there, but it really does the job. What really surprises you, though, is the brilliance of this chassis. Interior is pretty good, too. You've got these adjustable seats, or these sports seats with these adjustable bolsters, and that means when I'm going into a left-hander like this, it'll firm up the bolster on this side so that it keeps me well in place when I'm doing a lurid power slide like that. This is actually my favorite type of machine. Unassuming, practical, spacious, and insanely powerful. There are no wings, gills, and spine-compressing suspension bits. Just an abundance of comfort and speed. The car that started this trend was the BMW M5 from the mid-80s. But there are many who argue that the M5 has become too grown-up, too refined. Yes, the BMW M5 and this car are fairly similar. The M5 is a little more sure-footed. It feels a little more precise on the racetrack, but this is actually more fun. This chassis is just so brilliant. The car is so much lighter on its feet. It's just great fun to throw around. I'm not a very good driver. This is just a really easy car to power slide. Like the M5, this is very much like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But Mr. Hyde comes out in full force when you're on the racetrack. So this is for the board member with a mean streak. It's a brilliant machine. If I had a crore sum burning a hole in my pocket, I wouldn't buy a sports car because they just aren't that usable on our streets. Perhaps if I had a date at the BIC every month. Otherwise, I would get myself one of these epic sedans, and I would choose this over an M5. There, said it.